Welcome back to Black Hat 2025 at the Mandalay Bay in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm Jackie McGuire, practice lead, principal analyst, favorite media host for security. And I am here with not just one of my best friends, but one of the smartest people in security I know, Liz Morton.
Wow.
Field CISO from Axonius.
Thank you.
The day we met, I was like, oh my gosh, we're the same person.
Oh yeah, we have a lot in common. I remember that day really well.
Oh yeah, me too. It was amazing, and nothing
Instant
has changed.
bond.
Yeah, nothing has changed.
Yeah.
So you have run security at some insanely large critical places. Can you introduce yourself?
One in particular, yeah.
Yeah, give our audience
Sure.
a little bit of your background.
Sure. So right now I'm field CISO, as you know, for Axonius.
Yeah.
But before that, I ran cybersecurity for a company called the Intercontinental Exchange. They are known as ICE, but not that one.
Yeah, not that ICE, we promise.
That's their trading symbol. So it makes it complicated to talk about them sometimes. But they are best known, they're financial services based in Atlanta, where I live. And they're best known for owning the New York Stock Exchange.
Oh, little startup?
Little startup, called the New York Stock Exchange. Mm-hmm. I worked for them for many years in a couple of different capacities, first in IT and then in cyber. And fabulous, wonderful organization. I tell people that I got my PhD in getting stuff done at ICE.
Yeah. Well, we were just talking before we started. I remember interviewing you at Axonius, and you had just joined, and you were so excited. And because you get to talk more with customers, right, and like help them.
This is a great job. Yes.
Yeah. So, what do you like about your role? And now that you're months into it, what do you think?
Yeah. So I've been a field CISO now for about 8 months, which means I've been kind of a sales-facing, customer-facing person for the first time in my career, because I go back about not quite 30 years.
As much as you can sell to security people, we're not super easy to sell to.
No, and what's funny is like sometimes I think, especially when I'm dealing with like a tough customer, not that any of our customers are tough, we love our customers, but sometimes I run into like a me and I'm like, oh.
Like, is this what I was like to deal with?
Is this karma, or am I just earning my money now? And I love that, actually. I had a meeting with a customer yesterday who was a tough customer, and it was really fun because we managed to get to like, oh yeah, you do see what I have to say about that, and you see the validity there. And I think that's probably my favorite part of the job is like, I knew my program at ICE backwards and forwards, and very proud of it. And I knew ICE backwards and forwards, very proud of that too. But now I get to kind of see the wider world. And I think that's one of the amazing things about being a field CISO is like, I get to do things like influence our product and talk to our customers about what really matters and help them problem solve. And so it's kind of like I get to go to work at a different company every day. Super fun.
Yeah, and for neurospicy people like us, the constant change of pace and
always something to think about.
Yeah,
I've always been like pretty comfortable with context switching, which can kind of trip you up when you're trying to do thought work. But the way my brain works, it's actually
there's like 7 chains going on at the same time,
and like my brain will get tired of one idea and kind of need something else to. And this job is all of that. And
people keep asking me why I have like 5 jobs, and I'm like, because I can only do any one thing for like half an hour at a time, and then I need to switch to something else.
Too funny.
So like,
You're too funny. Yeah.
If I don't have multiple jobs, it's going to be switching to watching TV, and then I'm never going to swich back to the work I was supposed to be doing.
Right.
So.
Yeah. You'd get a PhD in Netflix.
Yeah. So you were just telling me right before we started filming that the nature of conversations that you're having with customers has pretty deeply changed from just RSA to now. So tell us a little bit about that and kind of what your conversations are like now. Yeah,
so, RSA, I think, is kind of known as the executive conference. That's where you have your CISOs, and the conference is kind of about the business of cyber, really. Yeah. It's about a lot of other things, too, but I think that's a fair way to distill that event. And at RSA, I was a little younger in my role. Like I've been, again, I think it's 8 months. I was more like at 4 months. So, Axonius had just done a rebranding, a bunch of stuff. So we were really talking about our messaging and getting the word out. And I was talking a lot about product. Mm-hmm. Now I'm having conversations. Here I am at Black Hat, which is kind of about more the practitioner. Mm-hmm. It's less executive facing. It's more about, it's more like about us, frankly.
Yeah, it's our people.
The practitioners, our people. By the way, this conference has been so fun.
Yeah.
And
it's always like a reunion. Like you can't walk down one hallway without seeing someone you know.
Absolutely. I had a very unfortunate incident yesterday where I was supposed to be on stage speaking and I forgot my badge in my hotel room, and like I could not get through the crowd because there were a million people, and also everybody I knew. I was like, hey, I'm so sorry. I'm freaking out. I forgot my badge. I can't get on the floor. I can't get my... So that was hilarious. I was literally like at one point trying to crawl around and over people.
Yeah, it was crazy yesterday.
And also like giving hugs and high fives and being like, I'll talk to you later. Anyway, I digress. Even though this conference is more about the practitioner and kind of, I'd like to think, a celebration of security in its purest form, I'm having a lot more conversations with our executive customers and their, and practitioners too, about, we really love your product. Great news for Axonius. The messaging is working. But I don't have budget. My budget's cut. We aren't entertaining new spend. We can't. What I love is, like, very often, and this is also great news for Axonius, very often what I'm hearing from CISOs is that their teams love us and really want us and won't leave them alone about buying us.
Yeah.
But they can't get the spend. They can't get the buy-in. They have to cut. They have to justify. So we're having I'm having some pretty sophisticated conversations actually about how to make that happen, how to structure a deal that works, how to get us in the door, how can we look at, what are your other projects? We have such a versatile platform, and we do so much great stuff that I'm in the catbird seat, I suppose, because I can try and help our customers pivot their sort of budget line in a way that lets them actually buy us.
Yeah. So, and what I had before we started filming, I was like, it's because you're a business CISO. Like, because, well, I think having worked at ICE, that is like you. Yeah. Could you possibly be more capitalist?
No.
And
total
so I
capitalist.
think you have to. Everything there is tied to dollars and cents, revenue, risk, but not just risk, quantifiable risk. Because if you say this is a problem, your CEO's like, until you say this is a problem that could cost $6 million a day if we're crippled, that's a big difference.
Yes. Interestingly, so financial services, and especially a company like ICE that's highly regulated and has all kinds of auditors and overseers and a very sophisticated, very mature enterprise risk function, boards, all those things. Yeah, like you expect to have conversations about, the risk reward kind of money conversation, the business CISO conversation. You expect to have it there. But I'm having those conversations with like guys who are overseeing security in manufacturing. And we're talking about like, what is the actual loss if you lose an hour a day, a site? And I think that is a sign of the times that maybe is good for us. For a very long time, I think the perception has been that security has like a blank check and unlimited budget from where I used to be.
Yeah.
That's how it always seemed. Of course, it wasn't actually like that. Nobody's like, yes, you can have whatever you want. We were tough, hard negotiators. That was my job, was to give my vendors a hard time and tell them to sharpen their pencil. And that was all about, fiduciary duty and just good business, frankly.
Yeah.
I think that is starting to become very commonplace for everyone. I'm hearing about, we all know what was happening in the government not that long ago with Doge. That's been part of the conversation.
When anybody who's dependent on any level of federal funding, National Institutes for Public Health,
correct?
Like the NIH,
healthcare systems, absolutely, yes.
Well, and we're hearing a lot of our budgets are frozen not out of lack of funding, but out of uncertainty.
1,000%. That is nobody seems to know when the right time is.
Yeah.
And the unlimited budget blank check thing is not just a fallacy. It's a dangerous way to kind of think about how security really works.
So you just do retail therapy.
Yeah, right.
Every time something goes wrong, just buy a new tool, add 4,000 more alerts to the SIM, never configure it, never hire somebody to manage it, and it'll be fine. And then when the next thing goes wrong, we'll buy a tool for that.
I was talking about this yesterday on stage when I finally did get a badge and I got on the floor and I could do my talk. I talked about the virtuous cycle of cyber, where it starts with a scary thing. Brilliant people have built things to solve the problem. Now we have to go buy it and learn it and maintain it. And my background is really heavily in operations, IT, traditional tech. So I look at that and I'm like, that's a good way to get a whole bunch of mouths to feed, and a whole bunch of fragmented data. Of course, I am the field CISO for Axonius, so I've talked about having a single clear picture of your environment
Single
is...
pane in the glass.
I wasn't going to say a pane in the glass, but yeah, a single pane of glass. That's, yeah. Single glass of pain. I wish I could remember. I wish I could remember who said that. Yeah. Someone very smart said that, and I think it's funny.
Look, I like the idea. I love the idea.
Yes.
I think the reality of actually implementing that, are there tools that can be that? Absolutely. Do 99.99999% of customers commit the resources, the head count to configure those tools to get all of the or alternatively, what they really should do is pay for professional services. Because if you just buy a tool and you think that without experts setting it up, monitoring it, maintaining it, it's just going to work, that's just not how things work.
That's right.
No two tech stacks are the same.
That's right.
So no tool is going to work out of the box, no matter how many agents it has.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know if this is necessarily Axonius' favorite part of what I bring to the table, but because I was a practitioner for so long, as much as like our sales folks might be like, yeah, the implementation is easy. The first time I heard that, I said, hang on a second. It's straightforward, but let's not say easy, because easy is a very relative term. And I have to tell you, when I was working at Intercontinental Exchange, it was straightforward to set up our system. It was straightforward to set up most of our systems.
Yeah.
Easy becomes a whole different equation whenever you're talking about running security. Like
a 1040 is straightforward. I know exactly what goes on my 1040. There's a line that tells you every single thing and where it should go. That still doesn't mean I'm qualified to be sure that every single thing that needed to go in each of those lines was there.
Right. Which
and then
is
I didn't
why
lie
you
about
need an
anything.
accountant. Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely.
So I don't know why we see security or tools as any different.
No, and I'm almost 30 years a practitioner, and I'm a builder and a doer at heart. That's just who I am. And so I look at that and I think, well, that is not how we talk about Axonius. Yeah. We don't, first of all, insult our customers by pretending like we know what their everyday operating life looks like. And we also don't tell our customers that it's a set and forget kind of equation, because we do have maintenance like every tool does. Yeah. It would be weird and probably make Axonius very ineffective.
That's how you end up with a 20-year-old server sitting in a closet that if you turn the light switch off, it turns off. It's a set and forget.
My God. Yeah. So, I mean,
Not
there's
that I worked
always
in those
overhead.
offices.
I mean, we all kind of have worked in those offices, haven't we? It's how we get to the age we are, and then we go to cocktail parties and tell fun stories.
Yeah,
it's because of those days. Yeah, 100%.
So how should customers look at Axonius then? It's straightforward, but what do they need to be successful once they've signed on the dotted line?
Yeah, so first of all, I think there is a shift. I think we talk sometimes about the convergence between operational IT and security. I see that happening. I think also we're starting to see a shift in the way people are looking at their programs. So Axonius is great because what it is it's the foundation upon which you can build everything. Because it all starts with knowing what you have.
Right.
How much do you know about your environment? How much do you know about the real risks that you have, not the ones that you kind of opine on, right? Yeah. And that's like maybe not the thing that we are most excited to talk about, how much we don't know. But a lot of what we combat in security in one way or another is we combat the unknown. Yeah. So like philosophically, you kind of have to be ready to know. Yeah. And you have to be able to look at your baby, your real baby, and say, ooh, maybe that's not so great. Yeah. But unless you do that, unless you look, unless you know, you are not actually really fixing your problem. So we talk about that. I always think
it's kind of like, do you remember Most Extreme Elimination Challenge, MXC, that show?
Yes.
And then it was the one that came from Japan. It was originally called Hiroki's Castle, or Hiroshi's Castle. Yeah. Came out on, what was it, Spike TV, I think.
So, yeah.
And then it became Wipeout. There was the one activity they did where you're supposed to try to run through the wall.
Yeah.
And like 2/3 of the walls are paper that you can run through, and 1/3 of the walls are not paper, and people just bounce right off of them. And I always think that security's kind of like that, because there's all these vulnerabilities, but like only some of them can you actually run through them. And if you don't even know what you have, how can you even start to figure out what kind of walls those are and whether you're going to bounce off of them or crash through them?
Yeah, and it's like, look, it's no joke trying to run security for any organization, especially, if you're running critical infrastructure, the pressure can be immense. It can be very daunting, I think, to really take a look at what you really have and then say, okay, today, day one, we're going to start a program of continuous improvement. We're going to do the basics. We're not going to buy the fancy whiz-bang tool that's getting all the attention on the floor at Black Hat. Not that I'm thinking of anyone in particular, but and I'm not. That's really exciting.
Yeah.
To have all the theater that is cyber sometimes, right?
Maybe hygiene before theater.
Yes, absolutely. And so
Take a shower before you go to the movies.
Yes, please. Yes, please. And certainly name an industry that does anything. I think about the financial, because I've worked in financial services for so long, I think about the CFO. The CFO is not coming to the board going, we think we have earned about $1 billion this quarter.
Or
it was great.
Not knowing how much money's in the vault.
Correct.
How are you going to know if somebody steals something out of the vault if you don't even know how much money was in there in the first place?
Yeah. But look at us. Look at us as, and this is really how I see it. We are freaking heroes. Yeah. Because we've been trying to save the day without really knowing all the things that we needed to know. So we've been working from, not to be dramatic, but we've been working in the dark as an industry for a long time, and it's kind of stupid.
Yeah.
And especially when you can just buy some Axonius and solve your problems.
And all the lights come on.
Oh, and everything's perfect. No,
and maybe people are a little ugly when the lights come on like a nightclub, but it's better to know that there are ugly things there than to not know that they were there. And then you find out when somebody sends you a picture and says, hey, I stole your ugly thing.
Yes, exactly. Because if you don't find where you are really exposed and you are really in a high-risk, problematic situation, someone will eventually find it for you.
Yeah.
And that's reactive. And that's, the world of DFIR, and that's the world of defenders, and I love that world. I want those people to focus on the stuff that is really, truly difficult.
Right.
And not the stuff where it's oh, look at that, we got popped because we didn't have EDR on our externally facing web server. Exactly, yeah. So look, this person's had the same password for 5 years, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. I can't believe that those creds got popped. This is not sexy, but it's doing the reps. Yeah. It's the difference between I think being a mature organization that takes your resources, time, and effort and focuses it well on the hard stuff and lets the machines do the work for everything else.
So note to everybody listening, connect with Liz Morton on LinkedIn. She would be happy to not just be your therapist as a CISO, but also your business advisor and teach you how to get budget so that you can get Axonius and turn the lights on.
Yes.
All right, Liz, thank you so much. I would interview for 6 hours if I could, but they're going to make me stop. So thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me. This was so fun. I'm glad we finally got a chance to do it.
Yeah. All right, everybody, stay tuned. We will be back shortly from Black Hat 2025 at the Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas, Nevada with more great guests, content, and probably a few snarky remarks.